Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us for this practical session on creating consistent on-brand marketing content. My name's Sean Masters.
And I'm Catley Richardson. And over the next 20 minutes, we're going to demonstrate how by using a simple anchoring tool, you can create engaging content with purpose and confidence. Content for your website, your marketing materials, your social posts, your PR, your internal comms, or pretty much anything you need.
And it helps you build a consistent connection with your audiences, where you can demonstrate your expertise by providing genuinely useful, relatable, factual and practical information, and generate a variety of content ideas that remain on brand. So hopefully that's whet your appetite. So if you just bear with me a moment while I share my screen.
And while Sean gets the technology up and running, if you've got any questions, as Ashley just said, if you drop them in the Q&A, and at the end, we'll be happy to answer as many of them as we can.
Okay, so hopefully you should be able to see that. And I'm going to begin with a very short introduction to Brand Clear. So first up, we're not a consultancy that advises you on what you should be doing, or a creative agency that asks for a brief before starting. We connect these two halves with a combination of 20 years plus of experience in marketing know-how and a logical, structured 7-phase process that provides a blend of strategic insight and creative punch. We use a set of tried and tested tools and techniques to help organizations create everything from standout to changing perceptions to aligning their people behind a simple idea.
What we'll be talking about today is a specific tool that we apply at the end of the 7-phase Brand Clear process. But given the current circumstances, we felt that it was exactly the sort of practical tool needed to give you and your people just a level of stability and confidence in your marketing. Now, it's not a strategic silver bullet, but it will focus your tactics and embed the value of your brand into everything you do, which will make you easier to spot, easier to remember, and easier to choose. So, next slide. This is the message anchoring tool. And it works like this. You apply a theme, and that's a word or a phrase, to each of these 3 angles. And each angle represents a specific aspect of your organization. First, you have what you do. And this is the value you provide to your customers beyond a single product or service. Then you have why you do it. And this is the purpose, the reason you exist beyond any commercial needs. Finally, there's what matters to people. That's what's important to them that your product or service can actually help with. And these core elements form the bedrock of your brand ethos. And by identifying and applying the themes that best represent those elements, you can make the most effective use of this simple tool.
Okay, to put this into context for you, here's a Brand Clear client, a fitness and wellbeing brand called Training Shed. And they apply their themes to power their marketing. So bear in mind that this is a business that's undergone significant change in the last few months since lockdown began. However, the brand ethos and their themes that surround it haven't changed, and this has enabled them to remain visible and consistent. Their what is all about education. At the heart of what they do is knowledge. And the more you know about your own body, the more control you have. Their why is all around wholeness, that healthy balance of fitness and well-being, the physical and mental working together to make a happier, healthier you. And their what matters is all about being the agent of change, the catalyst for motivating and the motivations behind the small changes that lead to a better quality of life. So Training Shed use these themes to confidently create content that relates to their brand ethos, from fitness videos that demonstrate their wholeness, to educational blogs, to products and services that act as an agent of change for someone who has a goal in mind. In fact, it's given them the confidence to develop a national health and fitness screening called the Wellbeing Score, which helps the public understand where they are on the health scale. So this initiative is totally connected to their what, their why, and their what matters. The education theme is applied to the initial engagement, which is the score. They support this with materials that promote the theme of wholeness. And after that, there's a series of products that act as the agent of change for individuals and their goals.
So to demonstrate it all working in practice, we're going to use 3 more BrandClear clients to walk you through each of these elements in turn, complete with examples of a particular theme in action. And the 3 example brands we've chosen represent different types of businesses. So first we have Dracer, who provide digital products for the accounting software market. Then we have Brush, who provide physical products for the global energy market. And both of these are B2B. Then we have finally a B2C example, which is Ragdale Hall Spa. They provide leisure services for consumers. And as we go through, we'll build the message anchoring tool for each one of these examples. And we're going to kick off with what you do.
Okay, so what you do, which is your value. Your what is more than just the tasks you undertake or the product or the services that you offer. It's the fundamental practical value that you provide. So almost every organization has a product list or a service list. And obviously the larger the organization, the more complex the product portfolio. But the principle is the same here. Now with these lists, they're great at helping people understand where the edges are and what to expect from you. But you don't necessarily help people make a decision. What they're really interested in is the practical value. For example, what does this do for me?
So to use an example I hope we're all familiar with, here is breakfast. Now, not all breakfasts are created equally, but they probably all include something along the lines of cereal and milk, fruit juice, toast and marmalade, and a kitchen table to eat it at. But those are just a list of ingredients, and they go together to create the value of setting you up for the day.
And here's how the same approach applies to our 3 example brands: Dracer, Brush, and Ragdale Hall. But I'm going to focus on Dracer for the moment. Their individual products and services contribute to achieving organizational growth. However, for our themes, this statement of assisting growth is not an ideal reflection on their what, and that's because it's too specific. The aim is to assist growth, but how they achieve this is through creating efficiency.
So efficiency is Dracer's what? It's a broader, more flexible expression of the underlying value of all of their work, whether that's through automation, streamlining, or just better management. And now comes the fun part. With the right theme in place, we can begin to create a wealth of consistent content, all of it inspired by Dracer's brand ethos and relevant to their offering. Now, if you're sitting there and you're looking at this, if you were Dracer, how would you use efficiency? A straightforward example is to take efficiency and apply it to each of the products and services. So say you wanted to do a series of LinkedIn posts. Take those products and services and talk about them in terms of efficiency. What efficiencies do they bring? How do they achieve efficiency? What does efficiency look like in those products? And that way you're using the theme to guide your content. And here's how it could look in a real world example. So this is an interactive sales aid that's used to demonstrate exactly how efficient Dracer's credit control product really is. Remember, a good theme is where you jump off from. It suggests the content ideas and focuses them around your brand. You can see here how at the beginning you have lots of options for your business, and at the end of the slider, you've halved those options. Tracer have delivered efficiency by halving the things, the plates you need to keep spinning. So with that in place, let's move on to why.
So why you do it, which is your purpose. So your why is more personal, it's a motive, and it should trigger an emotional response in your audience rather than a rational one. A strong why is steered by two things. There's your purpose, the reason you exist as an organization beyond any commercial need. And attached to that is your belief, the motivation behind why you do what you do. For example, why are you doing this and not selling ice cream? For our three example brands, their purpose and their belief looks like this. Each has their own specific view and the reason for their existence and the motivations behind it. And that's the thing about purpose and belief. It's personal to each and every organization. You can have two businesses that offer the same product and will have two very different views on the world and what they stand for. So this time I'm going to focus on Ragdale Hall. Their purpose is to nurture and revive mind, body and soul. And the belief that's attached to that is that they believe that everyone needs space to breathe once in a while. Now, both their purpose and their belief revolve around self-care, the cocoon and R&R needed to recover from the pressures of everyday life. The ability to take time out, to reconnect with yourself and others before jumping back into your life.
So again, pulling all of that work together shows us that the why for Ragdale Hall Spa is true escape. It's a desirable and enviable promise that they make to each and every guest. Once again, we can apply this single theme then to a variety of activities and always be confident that whatever we do will remain consistent with Ragdale Hall's brand. So again, you're sat there, you are looking at this and you're thinking, as Ragdale Hall Spa, how do you use it? Well, one option you could do is look at the fact that true escape is the promise you're making to guests. And who delivers that promise? It's your staff. So it's crucial that people feel that your promise has been delivered by the final product, by the experience. So you take your therapists, your receptionists, all the on-site staff, and you talk them through true escape, the why that you do it, and why it exists, and why you've chosen that thing. You talk them through to the point where they can apply that to everything they do. They can create an overall atmosphere. It's how they welcome people to the site, or even the music they choose through a therapy. And the simplicity of the tool enables these conversations to be had with everybody in your organization. So everybody's singing off the same hymn sheet. And of course, you can use it for an advertising option as well. So here's how it might look if we take some examples of Ragdale Hall Spa's marketing and how they could communicate a variety of interpretations of true escape without losing consistency or brand identity. Because a why triggers an emotional response, it's the perfect inspiration for advertising and top of funnel content, where we need to be easy to spot and easy to remember. And you can see here exactly how that works for Ragdale. They might not use that word, the true escape word, but that's what is being evoked here by this advertising. So with that in place now, let's move on to what matters.
Okay, so what matters to people, which is your audience, and what really matters to people isn't necessarily what you promise or even how you deliver it. It's what you leave them with. It's the outcome that matters most. In essence, marketing and brand communication is all about managing the meaning that people attach to your brand. To do this successfully, you must understand your audiences, what jobs and needs they have, what pains they have, and what gains they would most benefit from. From here, you can begin to build a community of customers who share similar motivations and experience similar pains. Here's a snapshot of identified customer needs, pains, and gains relating to our three example brands. As you can see, they're all very different, which gives us the opportunity to hone in on what really matters. So you're hitting those right notes that build credibility and connection. So this time we're going to focus on Brush. So Brush's customers are businesses, they are departments, and they are people, all of which need to get a job done with a minimal risk to their own reputations at the different levels. Now they're in the supply chain along with dozens of other contractors building or maintaining large-scale engineering projects. The sheer complexity of this scale makes Brush's status as a proven supplier of safe and secure products immensely valuable to potential customers. This reliability delivers on their needs, avoids their pains, and provides the gains that really matter.
And merging these components helps us to understand that what matters to Brush's customers is managed risk. It's the desired outcome of working with a company like Brush who understands their market in depth, has experience, and can leverage that knowledge and experience to mitigate any form of risk. As before, we can go on to apply this theme to a variety of activities. Again, put you in the place. You're sat there, you're looking at this. What would you use this for Brush? A great option, especially for what matters, is because here you find the evidence, you find the data and the proof that you can turn into internal communications and case studies especially. The theme helps us to focus on the facts and the evidence that are most relevant to what matters to the customer. So in this case, managed risk, and you can then build a case study all the way around that. Maintenance records spanning 20 years, for instance, can go towards that story. Fast response times and how you've reacted to clients that have been clients time and time again and why they've chosen you. You focus on these and how they deliver managed risk and how they represent it, then you can build a case study that represents what Brush offers. What does managed risk look like? The tool itself creates a tightly defined idea of what your brand means, and it enables you to express it in a way that is consistent without being repetitive. As we've seen, there's been 3 options for how you could use 3 different themes, each one of them connecting to the brand and repeating that message, but not being overburdened with the same information again and again. And it's the best and most reliable way to ensure that you are seen the way that you want to be seen, which is the whole point. So talking about Brush, again, here's some examples of how we could go out and externally communicate the theme of managed risk to build credibility. By bringing its professional experts to the foreground and not focusing on product features, it can demonstrate the breadth of knowledge, experience, and intuition, all human factors, that is vital to managing risk. And all of this goes together in the trust well-earned positioning statement. And that statement again shows you that you don't have to repeat the theme that you've got as a tagline or an advertising line. It can just inspire it. Trust well-earned delivers on that idea of managed risk, but it goes that step further to identify something that you can build a campaign around. But it's still on brand, and it perfectly illustrates how a theme can shape the way you communicate that brand.
And there you have it, a simple tool that enables you to confidently anchor any content to your brand. With all the changes that we're facing us now and in going forward into the future and the uncertainty ahead, this method gives you a firm grasp on your what, your why, and your what matters, and makes it easy to be consistent, no matter who within your organization is communicating. And we're going to share a copy of this template to use, for you guys to use after the session. And just to prove that we stand by what we've been saying for the last 20 odd minutes, this is our this is how we use the Brand Clear tool. At Brand Clear, we deliver clarity to organizations so they can make confident decisions in the face of any change. And hopefully this session has also delivered on our why and given you a practical method of creating consistent marketing with confidence.
we know how challenging it is to generate content, and we know that you might still need that extra leg up to get the most out of this method. So if that's the case, there are 3 ways that we can help. If you'd like more clarity, then we're offering half-hour one-to-one sessions for free to talk through how the tool could work for your organization. If you'd like the chance to build some confidence before actually getting stuck in the real world, then we're also running practical workshops that give you and your team hands-on experience of applying the method. And if at the end of the workshop, you feel you don't have any value out of it, you haven't got what you wanted out of it, and you can't apply your themes practically immediately after the session, we'll refund you the full fee.
Or if you're in the process of embracing change and you feel you'd benefit from an objective view to better frame your what and your why and your what matters before you start communicating, then we recommend the brand clear 7-phase process. So there's more detail on this, which is on the website, or you can download this ebook, which walks you through some of the key stages, which can also be found on the website. Okay, that's it from us. Back over to Ash.
Thanks very much, guys. That was brilliant. Really enjoyed you sharing your brand new tool. I'm certainly going to request a copy and maybe crack on with coming up with our own little template for this. So what I wanted to say at the start of this was, obviously you want to share that template with people. If people can just put yes in the chat, I'll make sure that Sean can follow up and Ben can follow up with the actual template for you guys to use. So if everyone can start putting yes in the chat, I'll make sure that those details are passed over to you, really. A quick one from me. So I'm gonna get this tool after this presentation. What's the first thing I should be doing? And then, can you give me some steps of how to do this?
The first thing I'd recommend you do is try and imagine, as we've walked through, those different elements of why, what, and what matters, and think about the way you talk about your organization. So one of the things where the tool came from was also through introductions in networking opportunities. So when you have a completed tool, you can actually create a conversation around it. So you can use, as we do, clarity, confidence, and change to introduce yourself, introduce what you do. And that comes from an understanding of your business and understanding how you introduce yourself. So think about how you introduce yourself at networking events. Think about what you say about your business in conversation, and then start to apply these ideas that we've gone down. So what does the value of all your products add up to? Why are you doing this and not selling ice cream? And what really do you leave your people with, your clients with, that they're going to sell you on? Because obviously that's the idea of getting referrals, is you finish with this idea. And for us, oh my God, they helped us move through this huge period of change. You face change, you need them. That's where it works for us. So I'd say as a first step, just think about how you talk about your business, then start applying them in individual sections. So what's our what, why, and what matters. And then you can start playing around in teams with those elements of, do we believe in this? Do we agree with this? Does it give us a leaping off point? Because that's the most important thing. Is it a dead end that we can't express much with? Or is it an open door that leads us to, huge ideas of content? Are we excited about it? Some of the people we've worked with who have gone away with a completed tool, what's great to see is they say, I'm not just confident in using it, I can't wait to get started. And that's what it should leave you with.
Yeah, brilliant. It's so interesting to hear that obviously we started on this being a content tool. And the first thing that comes to my mind is, oh, well, I can start creating more posts, I can start changing my website, blogs, blah, blah, blah. But actually, it goes so much further into how you actually present yourself and how you speak to people when you come into face-to-face contact at maybe an event or something. That's really great.
I think the important thing is also just to say that it's also a great way of demonstrating how you could do this for the entire business. So it's not just about the individual themselves. So you can share this with colleagues quite easily, and everyone knows that they're all on the same page in how to present the business, how to communicate. Yeah,
and that spikes another question. I mean, how do you get everybody on board with something like this? What's your tip to include other key stakeholders?
I think the way we tend to do it is we try and find leading lights within the business, those who have an opinion and who are respected. And if you can pull them together and they become the core of this and represent other people and other departments within the business, then you've got these different perspectives and different points of view that can all contribute to how you can build that core idea. Now, whether you do it for the tool or whether it's a bigger piece that needs to be looked at, but I think having breadth of opinion and viewpoints is really important.